Poland is sending its MiG jets, its Soviet-era jets, to Ramstein Air Base. As NBC News' Dan DeLuce in Washington. Dan, what can you tell us?
Well, this is very significant news. I think this is going to be very much welcome in Ukraine and by Kyiv. Poland has issued a statement saying they're ready to donate free of charge all of their MiG-29 fighter jets to Poland, and that they await replacement aircraft from the United States and NATO allies. And they said that the planes would be sent to Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany. Now, why they're doing that, it might be, we don't know yet. It may be they just simply don't want to have a potential target in Poland. But it has been something that was under discussion. There have been a lot of conflicting reports. It came up more than a week ago. It seemed to go back and forth. It got confusing at times. But over the weekend, the White House and Secretary of State Antony Blinken confirmed this was something they were discussing with Poland, that Ukraine has asked this, or made an urgent appeal. President Zelensky speaking to lawmakers on Saturday, and this was his top request. Ukrainian pilots are trained to fly these kind of Soviet-era planes. They do already have these planes. They want more of them. And you saw this bipartisan endorsement, writing letters to the White House saying, get these planes to Ukraine. And Poland's request was that they get a replacement for these MiGs that they're going to be giving to Ukraine, and they wanted U.S.-made F-16. So It looks like that must have been figured out now. So that's what we have.
Dan, let's bring in our colleague Courtney Kube, our Pentagon correspondent. So, Courtney, what more can you tell us about what's going to happen now?
Okay, so I think we need to look at what this announcement is and what it is not. First off, this is Poland saying that they are ready to provide these MiG-29s to send them to Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany, as Dan was just saying. But they're also calling on the U.S. to provide them, to backfill them with appropriate aircraft, fighter jets that would have similar capabilities. Everyone's been talking about the F-16s. Just because Poland made this announcement does not mean that the U.S. has some number of F-16s sitting around that they can immediately provide to Poland. So that's the first hang up to this. The second one Dan was just touching on, and that is, why would Poland fly these aircraft from Poland, right next door in Ukraine, all the way to Germany, to Ramstein, and turn them over to the United States for the U.S. then to provide Ukraine? Officials who I'm talking to don't know the answer to that. A defense official who I asked right after this announcement was made, I said, what's going on here? Has this been made? And all they're saying so far here at the Pentagon is, we don't have anything. We're looking into this announcement. We don't have anything more for you on it. But I should say, as of yesterday, when we were asking the question about the possibility of the U.S. providing aircraft to Poland, we were told repeatedly, our colleagues Carol Lee and Peter Alexander and I were told repeatedly from a number of different officials in the Biden administration that it was a long shot that the U.S. would actually go forward with this. So again, as of now, this is Poland saying they are ready to send these jets, but there is no sense yet that the U.S. has the ability to backfill. As far as the logistics of this, though, Katie, yes, the MiGs, they could go. The U.S. doesn't have any MiGs, but theoretically, the U.S. could maintain them and could help them at Ramstein. But, I mean, that's the only, that's the only thing we really know at this point.
It is really odd, as you point out, to send them to Germany to go back to Ukraine when Poland is right next to Ukraine. And there are shipments going back and forth between those two countries of other arms. Tell me right now where Ukraine stands on its air fight against Russia. Russia has not yet dominated the skies over Ukraine. So what would it mean for Ukraine to get these jets?
So you're right. It's still a very contested airspace. But the reality is much of the air, Russia has more. It's tipped more in Russia's favor than in Ukraine. That being said, the Ukrainian Air Force still has the ability to fly. They still do not have Russia is not dominating them. But both sides, the Russian Air Force and the Ukrainian Air Force, frankly, aren't flying a whole lot of their manned aircraft right now. The majority of the stuff that's in the sky right now, it's missiles, it's artillery. There isn't a whole lot of manned aircraft flying, and that's because it is such a contested airspace. So that begs the question, does Ukraine really need these additional fighter jets? President Zelensky has said that he does. I think that because of that, there has been a very real faith effort here on the part of the U.S. and Poland and other allies to figure out if they can provide them with things. But it still doesn't answer the question, do they actually need them? The U.S., NATO, allies, a number of nations have come forward and provided Ukraine with a lot of other things that they really do need. Stinger missiles, we were reporting on that last week. They have gotten hundreds of these Stinger missiles, which provide the Ukrainians with the ability to shoot down Russian aircraft that are flying overhead. But even with that, Russia has S-400s up in southern Belarus that provide them with these very advanced radars. They control large parts of the Ukrainian airspace because of that. And Russia still has a very advanced and strong, robust ability with surface-to-air missiles to shoot down manned Ukrainian military aircraft. So it's a dynamic situation over the air right now. I mean, candidly, Katie, I don't really know why the Ukrainians would need more manned aircraft right now. It seems that of all the asks that they would have out there, that this is sort of a strange one to me, just looking at the operational picture right now. But I want to make sure that our viewers are very aware of the fact here that, yes, Poland is offering, they are saying they can send these MiGs, but that doesn't mean that the U.S. at this point has dedicated or has the ability to backfill them to actually get this process underway.